Hello, hello, everyone. Divine rising to you on this beautiful Friday, as some say, well, Friday morning. Um, and you know the routine. Let me see if I can uh hear myself or find myself, more or less. And you know the routine. Let me see. All right, yeah, I can hear me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Divine rising to you, everybody. If you are tuning in with me right now, let me know where you're tuning in from as I go ahead and share this out. Um, just bear with me, we're gonna get into this topic here in just a moment. And if you are cruising by and you're seeing this live for the first time, I am Shakitha. Um, and I reside in the great state of Texas, and I'm originally from Oklahoma, the Oklahoma area. I was actually born in this little bitty old town called Idabel, McCurtain County. Um, and here I am. Just we moved a lot. Not military people either. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get this shared out. But let me know where you're tuning in from if you are watching right now. And if you would like to join me live, you can click on in the comments live with me and you will be able to join me live. Excuse me. I don't know why this pops up twice, but anyway, you'll be able to join me live, and that will be on one of my Facebook profiles and on each of my Instagrams and YouTube. So I am tuning in on Shakitha and Me Instagram, Quiet Queens Academy YouTube, and Quiet Queens Academy on Instagram, and Shakitha Lewis on each profile page. So if you are tuning in and you would like to go live with me, you would just need to click the live with me, and I will let you in. It will not be on the actual platform that I'm streaming from. It will be from another platform. So if it looks a little strange, just click on it and I'll let you in. Um, and we can chop it up, right? So we're going to get into this topic, and as we know, we are at the end of the month. We are diving in to August here tomorrow. And I don't know about you all, but didn't the month go by quickly? I mean, the days are actually shorter than they used to be. It's like, I look up and the day is gone. The month is gone. This year, we're like going over in half of the year. I mean, what? Because June was half the June with July, so we're more than half of the year is being over. So just think about it. Times are moving fast. Times are moving extremely fast. But again, so we're gonna go ahead and get into this topic on this morning. Of course, consistency is the fruit, not the goal. The strongest consistency grows naturally from clarity, identity, and alignment. Y'all, one of the main things I do talk about is clarity and identity. Those to me, I guess, is like the most important of out of all that I probably could talk about. Because when we think about clarity, we got to be absolutely clear on what it is that we want. And the identity, we need to know who we are. How am I identifying myself? And here we go. Let me put that on silent. But those are the two things that I spend a lot about talking about is clarity and identity. And clarity, identity, they all roll over into everything else that I'll be talking about. But anyway, let's get into this live description. It says, as we close out the month, I want us to reflect on something many people strive for: consistency. Too often, we treat consistency as something we force through willpower. And so inside of Quiet Queens Academy, we see it different. I said set. We see it different. Consistency isn't something you chase. It's not something that you chase. It's something that naturally grows when your life is rooted in clarity, identity, alignment, and intentional leadership. And so today, Quiet Queen's principle: consistency is the natural result of living in alignment with who you're becoming. And so, again, let's go ahead and get into this conversation. And so, again, Divine Rising, Quiet Queens, as we come to the end of another month, as I said before, it just came by so quickly, I'd like to ask you a question. When you hear the word consistency, what comes to mind? And if you want to share, you can drop it in the chat, drop it in the comments, and let me know. But for many people, it's pressure, it's discipline, it's trying harder, it's feeling guilty when they miss a day. They're feeling guilty when they miss a day. Um, but what if we've misunderstood consistency all along? What if consistency isn't the goal? What if it's the result of something much deeper? And thank you for joining over here, Airline Painting. Appreciate you hopping on here to let me know where you're tuning in from. And so let's get into this connection, right? So for a long time, I believe consistency meant never missing a step. If I skipped something, I felt like I had failed, right? Divine rising, glow, Brett Diamonds. Great morning to you. Great morning. I see you over here. I saw what you posted too. I like that. So, anyway, so over time, I realized consistency isn't about perfection. It's about returning to what matters. The woman who builds sustainable lives aren't perfect. I said the woman. The women who build sustainable lives are not perfect. They simply keep returning to alignment. All right. Let's see. Love your consistency of knowledge online. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, and that's one of the things that I decided to do for myself, is to remain consistent, and not only that, but focus. Because focus helps you, being focused helps me stay consistent as well. So, like I said, women who build sustainable lives aren't perfect. They simply keep returning to alignment. That realization changed everything for me. And so let's get into this Quiet Queen's principle. Consistency is the natural result of living in alignment with who you are becoming. And so when your identity, values, and daily choices work together, consistency becomes less about effort and more about integrity. And so as I dive into this first point, consistency begins with clarity. Let's say, oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I put a hat on yesterday, but yeah, the hair is looking amazing. Glow. I'm gonna have to keep glow Brett Diamonds. All right, I'm just gonna say glow. Y'all, that's my bestie right there. That's my girl. But anyway, yes, consistency is definitely the key to unlock results. Absolutely. And the more you stay consistent, and just I'm saying, just small little steps of becoming consistency, and then everything compounds over time. So everything is going to and it seems like if you paid attention to anybody who's already have their, if you want to say their glow up, I mean, they didn't start there. They started with the small, consistent actions that compound over time. And so now you see this big blooming blossom tree or flower, if you want to say. Um, and it looks like, man, they've always been there. Well, that's not the case. So let's get into this point. Consistency begins with clarity. It's difficult to remain consistent when you're constantly changing directions. We gotta stop changing directions because and I say this because I've done this on multiple occasions. I have started something and changed the direction I was going based on, okay, me allowing, I'm not blaming, but allowing people to pull me in different directions. And so this is where clarity gives consistency somewhere to grow, right? And so, in my perspective, I've learned that every time I become clear about what truly matters, my decisions become simpler. And when my decisions become simpler, consistency follows naturally. And so I spend less time debating and more time building. And so let me see, unlocking. Yep, that's it. Absolutely. Um, and so here's a reflection for you. Um, the first reflection, let me just say this, the first one is, where has a lack of clarity made consistency more difficult? And what priority deserves your focused attention? And so if you feel comfortable with sharing, you can drop it in the comments and we can talk about it, right? So I'll say it one more time. Where has a lack of clarity made consistency more difficult? And what priority deserves your focused attention? If you care to share. But, and so once clarity gives us direction, let's talk about it. Once clarity gives us direction, identity gives us a reason to continue because direction alone isn't enough. Eventually, life tests our commitment. And I'm telling you right now, life do test your commitment because I last week decided that I was going to get back into the gym and get back into, get back into the flow of things because, like I said, things a little chaotic here at the house. So, um, because I usually work out at the house. So I'm like, you know what? Let me get a gym membership and let me get out of the house, right? So that right there is testing my commitment. Because I tell you what, I caught up Charlie Harts this morning, and oh my God, I was like, you know what? I could have said I'm not gonna go to the gym, but because I committed to myself, this is what I'm gonna do. So I went to the gym. And I brought a little guest. My grandson decided he wanted to go with me. So that was a treat, and to watch him all over the place, just on all the different machines. But anyway, let's get back into the identity sustains consistency. And thank you, Perry, for joining the live with me on this morning. Just let us know where you're tuning in from. Appreciate it. Um, so identity sustains consistency. All right. So motivation comes and goes. And we're not going to get into the motivation, all right? Because we know about motivation. Again, like I said, it comes and it goes, but identity remains. So inside Quiet Queens Academy, we often say identity before activity because activity changes with circumstances, but identity remains steady, right? So when I remember who I'm becoming, I don't have to convince myself to keep going. So let me say that again. When I remember who I am becoming, I don't have to convince myself to keep going. So my choices naturally begin reflecting that identity, right? So again, identity is so important, finding out who you are, because again, identity is going to remain. But when it comes to activity, activity changes your circumstance. So when you figure out and identify who you are, where you want to go, who you're becoming, all those things, guess what? You're going to remain steady, right? So here's a reflection for you. So when life becomes challenging, what part of your identity helps you remain steady? And what daily habit reflect the woman you're becoming? So, and I will state that once more. What life becomes, I'm sorry, when life becomes challenging, what part of your identity helps you remain steady? Shout out to New Orleans in the house. New Orleans, Louisiana. And I'm doing amazing. How are you doing, Perry? How are you doing? How are you doing? I see your little babies. They just growing up, especially what um oh, I want to mess her name up. Your oldest daughter. She is growing up so much. I just see the pictures. But anyway, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful children you do have. So as identity becomes stronger, consistency stops feeling like obligations. And instead, it becomes a natural expression of alignment. And so, getting to this next point, consistency reflects alignment. So, we just talked about identity. Um, I will say the core identity because, like you said, we don't focus on activity first. We focus on identity, and so consistency reflects reflects alignment, and consistency isn't measured by perfection. And I'm guilty. I used to be a perfectionist. I'm still working on being not being a perfectionist. So, but like I said, consistency isn't measured by perfection. It's measured by how often we return to what matters. And in my perspective, some days will look different than others. That's that's part of being human, being human being, okay. So what matters most is that I continue returning to my values, returning to clarity, returning to purpose, returning to alignment. That's the consistency I want to cultivate, right? And so here's a reflection for you. What helps you return when life pulls you away from your priorities? What helps you to return when life pulls you from your priorities? And how can you practice grace without abandoning your commitment? And I'll say that once again. What helps you return when life pulls you away from your priorities? And how can you practice grace without abandoning your commitment? And so, here is a Quiet Queens integration for you. So today's conversation wasn't really about consistency. It was about the entire Quiet Queens operating system. So this month, we've talked about structure creating freedom, clarity removing unnecessary pressure, identity shaping who we are becoming, alignment helping us live from that identity, discernment protecting our direction, healthy boundaries protecting our capacity, stewardship caring well for what we've been entrusted with. Trust sustains us before results appear. And so today's lesson reminds us that when those principles work together, consistency naturally follows. And it's not the beginning of the journey, it's the fruit of the journey. And so many people believe If I could just become more consistent, everything else would improve. Well, inside Quiet Queens Academy, we ask a different question. What if consistency isn't the starting point? What if it's the evidence that your clarity, identity, and alignment are becoming stronger? The goal isn't to force consistency. The goal is to build a life that naturally produces it. And so, if you're not familiar with Quiet Queens Academy, there is a link in the comments. You can tap that link and you can get access to the academy by going to quietqueensacademy.com/community. And if you want to find out what your builder profile is, you can just simply go to quietqueensacademy.com and see what type of builder you are. And also you can find that in the link in my bio, but it's not going to be in the actual bio. You got to go down and actually go to the links and tap the link. All right. Um, and so here's a practical integration for you on today. And as we close out this month, take a few moments to reflect. Which which Quiet Queens principle has created the greatest shift in your thinking, right? In your thinking, right? Structure, clarity, identity, alignment, discernment, healthy boundaries, stewardship, or trust. Then ask yourself, how will I intentionally carry this principle into the month ahead? And in closing, I leave you with this question. If someone watched your ordinary life over the next 30 days, what would they learn about what matters most to you? Because consistency quietly reveals our deepest values. And so, if this month's conversation have encouraged you, I love to hear from you, right? So, which Quiet Queens principle has had the greatest impact on your life this month and why? Your reflection may become the encouragement another quiet queen needs as she continues her own journey. And so thank you for walking. Oh, thank you for thank you for the love. So thank you for walking through another month with me. And I'll see you Monday morning as we begin installing the next layer of the Quiet Queens operating system, one conversation at a time. And so again, I see you on actually Monday, but I'll see you next month. Y'all have a divine, beautiful day.